So guys, the Tinubu's government has come under fire after report exposed that the Tinubu's government spent $9 million in hiring a lobbying firm to go communicate the effort by Tinubu to protect Christians in Nigeria. See how the cable captured it. It says federal government hires lobbying firm for $9 million to communicate Christian protection effort to the US. Tinubu is definitely afraid for his second term. You know, he has moved to hire a lobbying firm to go and tell America all the effort he is putting on ground to protect Christians. So guys, this is exactly what Tinubu is doing. Instead of actually protecting Christians, Tinubu is spending more money to hire a lobbying firm. And this was done through the office of the National Security Advisor, Ribadu. Let me read a section of this article from the cable. It says, according to the lobbying contract document filed with the U.S. Department of Justice, Asta Lega, a law firm in Kaduna State, hired the services of DIC on behalf of Ribadu, the National Security Advisor. So guys, Ribadu is the one doing this under the Tinubu's government. They paid a lobbying firm in Kaduna State, which is now the one connecting to another lobbying firm in the U.S. to help tell Donald Trump that Tinubu is working so hard to protect Christians in Nigeria. Now, see how Sahara Report has captured it. It says, Tinubu government pays Republican lobbyist $9 million to appease Trump amid threats of further U.S. strikes on Nigeria. So, guys, a whole lot is happening. And this other headline here says this person here reacted. These are now reactions from Nigerians. Tinubu is spending $9 million. That is over 14 billion naira on a DC lobbying firm. All the work Raimo did in Nigeria, all the truth-finding mission by Mike Almond, all the bills raised by Ted Cruz and the U.S. Congress over Christian killing, wiped away with a $9 million lobbying contract. Think about it. So guys, think about it, what we see on that. There is no transparency. This is what they want to be doing with taxpayers' money, the money they want to collect from you, to go and hire lobbying firm instead of Tinubu to actually go out and protect Christians. See how many people have died since the new year in Nigeria. Christian-dominated areas. Even in the north, when you hear Sokoto, Zamfara, Katsina, these are areas where you have Christians living that they are attacking. They want to take over at all costs. Now, see how this headline captured. It says Tinubu hires U.S. right-wing connected lobby firm for over 12 billion naira as Trump threatens more strike in Nigeria. See how Tinubu is wasting taxpayers' money. Now, Rufai reacted and said, federal government hires lobbying firm for $9 million to communicate Christian protection effort to U.S. The federal government has hired a lobbying firm in a $9 million contract to assist in communicating its effort on protecting Christians in Nigeria to the United States government. According to the lobbying contract document filed with the U.S. Department of Justice, Asta Lega, a law firm, it's a law firm in Kaduna State, hired the services of DCI Group on behalf of Ribadu, the National Security Advisor. So a law firm in Kaduna State hired the lobbying firm in America through Ribadu. Ribadu is the one doing all this. Ribadu that set up Fulani vigilantes is now telling the U.S. that they are protecting Christians. So after setting up a Fulani vigilante that they sent to Kwara, I don't know where else they sent them to, Ribadu is now pushing for a law firm to go and tell Donald Trump that they've set up a security architecture that is protecting Christians. Nigerians, have you seen the mathematics there? They actually set up a Fulani vigilante group that they said they are going to spread across Nigeria. And now Ribadu has moved to tell the United States that they are now protecting Christians, meaning directly or indirectly, they've accepted that there is a Christian genocide. Now they are pushing for Trump to be aware that they are now protecting Christians. So see how this guy reacted to it. The Nigerian government hires a lobbying firm for a whopping $9 million to communicate Christian protection effort to the U.S. Detail: the contract was formally signed by a law firm in Kaduna State named Asta Lega on behalf of Ribadu, the National Security Advisor. The U.S. lobbying firm hired is the DCI Group, which is linked to Republicans in the U.S. The goal is to influence U.S. perception, do you see, and address concerns raised by U.S. lawmakers who have described Nigeria as one of the deadliest countries for Christians and have pushed for sanctions or a country of particular concern designation, which President Donald Trump eventually assented to declaring Nigeria as a country of particular concern. So they went and hired a law firm that is linked to the Republicans, so that the law firm will go and be telling them that, see, we are doing a lot. Christians are now safe. Benue people are no more attacked. Plateau people are no more attacked. Katsina people, because all the attacks you see happening in Katsina, Zamfara, Sokoto, all those places are Christian. You may not know how many Christians that are in the north. There are a lot of them, honestly. These are Christian-dominated areas being attacked recently. Iswap said, convert or die. That was in Adamawa, Christian-dominated areas. They want to take over. It's all about jihad. It's all about ethnic cleansing. It's all about taking over Nigeria. It's all about Islamizing Nigeria. Now, Mike Almond also reacted and said, President Tinubu is spending $9 million on a DC lobbying firm, complete with Roger Stone and Trump-connected operatives to convince Republicans that Nigeria is protecting Christians. Meanwhile, Fulani militias keep raiding villages, burning churches, and slaughtering innocents in the Middle Belt. Thousands dead in recent years. Attacks going on. This isn't protection. This is narrative warfare paid with your public funds, public money. Real security for Christians means Washington PR spins. Okay, real protection of Nigerian Christians, is less than Washington PRO. Is or equal to or greater than Washington PRO spin. So he's trying to say, instead of the Tinubu's government to actually go out and protect the people, they are trying to kind of deceive the Republicans that they are protecting Nigerians. So guys, this is heartbreaking. This is really heartbreaking. Now, this headline says, false narrative paid for with public money. Almond blasts Tinubu's payment of over 12 million naira to convince US on Christian protection efforts. So taxpayers' money, this is how they'll be using it, without your consent. No amount of PR can erase truth. Nigerians tackled Tinubu's payment of 12 million naira to counter genocide narrative. So guys, I don't know why the APC is always full of just crooked kind of actions, Why are they always lying, not being straightforward, not coming out clean? There is Christian genocide. Everybody knows it. Tell us what you are doing. Just put some effort. Look at everywhere. Bello Tuji came out and commanded the people in Sokoto eastern part of Sokoto. These are mostly Christians, to vacate within the space of 24 hours. If you don't vacate, you are dying. And guess what? People were seen running out of their villages. And before you know it, they've attacked. News now has it this morning that they've attacked the communities and they've abducted many people. They fight some. So guys, instead of Tinubu to actually tell me why Tinubu is not fighting terrorism, tell me why is he afraid of the North? Why is he afraid of because of election? Why is he keeping quiet? And they are just rubbishing Nigeria. Now he's rather spending taxpayers' money to pay a lobbying firm to go and convince the Republican that they're actually protecting us while there is no protection. Anyway, guys, let me allow you to take a look at this video and let me know your honest reaction in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification for more. Thank you.
Now, ISWAP has more or less dead US President Donald Trump, who has been saying we will stop the Christian genocide in Nigeria, the alleged Christian genocide, because the Nigerian government has not agreed that there is a Christian genocide in the country. They are reportedly planning drone attacks on military formations in Borno and Yobe State. That is to weaken the Nigerian military. Now that this has come out, it's supposed to be a secret, right? But it's come out, Nigerians know about it. Would you expect that the Nigerian military will rise up to the occasion and foil this attack before it happens? At least to give them a better name amongst Nigerians and the international community who believe that the Nigerian government is not doing enough to curb insecurity.
Yeah, that's what is expected, Choma, on a normal situation. Like you rightly said, when we listen to Nigerian news these days, all we hear is all about insurgency, killing and maiming of Nigeria. That's to Nigerians. That's to tell you that that is the reality on ground. There is no shying away from it. There's no way you have to paint it. There's nothing like painting it, just to sugarcoat it, to make it look as if all is well. All is not well at the moment. That's why we are calling on international communities, and like Donald Trump has actually intervened to do more. Now, you just said, to redeem their name, that's how it's supposed to be. Because when if Nigeria Armed Forces is actually on top of their game, there has to be proactiveness in handling most of this matter. Now that at least this information is leaked now, we are aware of it. Then they are supposed to, double up their operation to make sure that they nip it in the bud before it become an issue. They are talking of military formations. If these military formations are hacked, that means the civilians are not safe at all. So we expect that now that this one is at the domain of the Nigerians now, front domain, we expect that they will be able to nip this one. Let this one not be what will become another discussion, maybe in another 1 week or 2 weeks from now, that, oh, we said it last time, but unfortunately they were not proactive enough to curtail it.
As we go into the political season, we do know that politics will dominate the discussion on online, offline, on the media, outside the media, within our families, friends, and indeed on the streets of Nigeria. But we cannot even practice politics or the political process without security. When there is insecurity, every other thing will have to be on hold. Just like education has been on hold in certain parts of the country, they've had to rely on radio education. But then, before you can even listen to the radio, you have to ensure that you're safe and secure, because the sound of the radio can drop these bandits to you if you are in an area that is infested. Now we're talking about peace deals, and the Katsina state government's plan to release 70 bandits back into the environment, into the villages, into the societies that they have been terrorizing. And they are defending this plan, saying, we've looked at it, this is the best thing we can do at the moment. And they say it is also part of the peace pact that they sign. And one would wonder, the victims sometimes talk about coming in contact with the people who put them in dangerous situations. And then it makes you wonder, how exactly are we posturing? Do you think the government is even concerned about looking to Nigerians like they are trying to solve this insecurity problem? When with this kind of situation, it would seem that they are liaising with the people that are terrorizing the citizens.
You see, it is so shameful that we are hearing something like a state, one of the states in Nigeria out of the 36 states, talking about that is their arrangement and agreement with insurgents to release them, so that they can now have peace. What do they mean by that? Nigeria is still a functional country, if not that we have sold out our rights. For a governor to be going into such agreement and arrangement, or even local government, it shows that that state is no longer functioning. There is no governance in that state. Because it is not even when they are confronted, this state governor, they tell you, oh, they are always chief security officer, that they don't take the security apparatus take directive from the federal government. Why don't you allow the federal government to handle this insecurity instead of now going into unholy alliance with the insurgents? I think that arrangement must be stopped. That arrangement is just a postulation coming from Gumi that, oh, these are our people, Sheikh Gumi, these are our people, and they should be rehabilitated and integrated into the society instead of killing them. Has it worked? You are talking of people who have killed, who do the only business they know is how to kill, maim, and destroy. Can they change? The people that they killed, the people that they are destroying their means of livelihood and thrown into IDP camp, how are you taking care of them? You now rehabilitate them, give them a different toga and bring them into the society. Tomorrow, the business they know is all about killing and maiming people. They go back to their brothers who are still in the forest, and begin to leak information to them and begin to direct them on how they are to come into the communities and destroy and kill and maim. Have you achieved anything? Do you dialogue with enemy? Is Nigeria not seeing what Israeli armed forces did to Gaza, Hamas in Gaza today? Why can't you also think of how to be on top of this situation that we find ourselves for the past 16 years? These are not what we should be celebrating. You are bringing out men from whom the business they know is only killing. They say, oh, they have turned a new leaf. Can they ever change? Do leopards change their skin? Have we not been seeing that some of these things that we have done in the past, how is hunting the Nigerian armed forces today? Some of them have infiltrated Nigerian armed forces. Now, whatever operation they plan, these operations are hijacked and lead to ambush. And Nigerians are losing soldiers on daily basis through some of these unholy alliances we are having with the insurgents. I think the governor of Katsina State and whoever is planning that should quickly put an end to it, because this is not going to help the people. These people, whatever carrot you dangle at them today, tomorrow they are going to jettison it and go back to the business they ever know best, and that will become a detrimental to the people. I don't think this one should be encouraged, Choma.
It's unfortunate because now we're actually hearing reports of attacks occurring on Sunday. It's almost as if those people are jubilating, understanding that, oh, very soon the government will release their people and they can continue going on rampage against Nigerians. But let us look at this conversation about the ISWAP planning drone attacks on military positions in Yobe and Borno State. Now, these attacks are expected to involve multiple drones operating at the same time against select military targets. These drones, they reportedly recently received a consignment of about 35 drones allegedly transported through the Lake Chad corridor, which is a known logistic route used by insurgents in the northeast. Why have our military, in conjunction with our other West African neighbors, because we're all suffering this insurgents, it may not be as high as it is in Nigeria, in other countries, Niger and all of that, but we know that these Sahelian countries are facing these issues of insecurity, at least in the border communities. What is stopping Nigeria from liaising with our other West African neighbors, their military, to ensure that these corridors, Lake Chad, other border communities, at least, that we push these people to a point where they know their limits, they know where they cannot pass? And also, where did they receive this consignment from? Who are the people that are sponsoring it? What is stopping the federal government from releasing the names that they told us they will release last year?
These are the big questions, Choma. You will agree with me that during the late President Buhari's time, there was a joint service, there was a joint operation between Nigeria, Niger, and even Republic of Benin and some other West Africa countries then, you know. But unfortunately, since that coup happened in Niger Republic, that arrangement has, watered down. It has never been business as usual. But the big question here is, even if we are not even coming into alliance with some of these West Africa, Sahelian countries in West Africa, why don't we even think of how to secure our own side of it? Now, when General Musa, Christopher Musa was chief of defense staff, he kept talking about, fencing of borders. He made mention of the fencing of Pakistan border between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Even as sophisticated as US border with Mexico is fenced. Why now that he has become minister now, at least it's one of the policies maker now, we want to see that same arrangement he has been telling that it's a necessity. He now think of how to bring us such discussion between the federal government and the National Assembly to release funds. He has a budget now. He has a budget that at least his ministry is entitled to. That kind of development should start. Let's start from somewhere. Because if you look at it, our borders, the custom are looking the other way. The custom cannot man our borders to check all this infiltration into Nigeria. That is a big, humongous project. You are talking of drones. Do you know how much it costs? People sponsor that drones. Then it's being brought into this country, and these drones are not brought in as if you are bringing on a needle, a pin and needle. They are brought in containers. How did they get into this country? Where is the custom and where is the immigration services? We still have controller generals in all these paramilitary. But what is their duties? Now that they fail in their responsibilities, then we should look at the other way. Why don't we now begin to think of financing this fencing of Nigeria border? Let's start it from, at least let's begin it and begin to push it gradually. It may not be a one-day thing, but let's start it. Because this, if we want to rely on Nigeria custom and Nigeria immigration, this insurgency and this infiltration of arms and ammunition into this nation will never stop. We used to talk of light weapons into this country. It's no longer light weapons now, Choma. These are armaments now coming into Nigeria now. And as a result of the failure of those people whose responsibility are supposed to man these borders, then the financiers, we have been talking about these financiers over the years. Unfortunately, the Nigeria government have not had the willpower, political willpower to bring out the names of the financier and charge them as expected. That is why it is festering. If those boys in the bush, in the forest, as they tell us, don't have all this consignment coming to them as expected, or whatever they are doing in the forest, they will be tired of it. But now they seated there now. These drones are coming in. Then they now get more armament to confront Nigeria armed forces. That's where the problem lies. Drone is a very sophisticated and modern equipment in warfare. Have you thought of how these people are we call ragtag in the bush are being trained on how to use it? You don't just bring a drone and begin to calculate the mileage it's going to go before it releases its missiles in it with ordinary hands. People train them. Where are these people coming from? Who are the people paying all these people that are training these boys in the bush? This is where the government of this nation failed, because the government of this nation have not done its job to actually look at where these financiers are coming from. Who are those behind it? Unfortunately, we have been shouting in this nation that these financiers are part of government. They are part of the leadership of this nation. They are even part of those that call themselves the sultans of the emirs of the so-called northern part of Nigeria. They are in politics. They are in government. They are in everywhere. They are businessmen that are part of them that are getting contracts from Nigeria government and using it again to finance the terrorism to attack Nigeria as well. That is the problem. But Buhari failed in it. Tinubu came and said he was going to continue from where his predecessor stopped, and again, it's already failing. But the only area the only circle we are looking at now is that if only the Western America and the other Western allied forces that said, oh, they are going to help us, assist us in fighting this insurgent, if only they can come on ground. Otherwise, what we are talking about here today, even when this intel is everywhere, you see in another 1 week, we'll be talking, oh, they actually struck. But we got the intel now for it to have been curtailed. Unfortunately, we don't have the means to actually curtail them as expected.
While we're talking about all of these issues, some Nigerians are afraid that that if care is not taken, Nigeria may become like Afghanistan.
Afghanistan, Somalia, and others, yes.
And this is arising from certain practices, not just the insecurity issue. You know, some people believe that there is a jihadi agenda and Islamization agenda against the country. And then when the government seems to look the other way while these attacks are going on, they believe that this is a way to instill fear in the people and make them feel helpless. We now go to Yobe State in an incident that may seem unrelated. The Hizbah, that's the moral police in Yobe State, have banned male and females from sitting together in public transport. So they ban male and females from talking to each other outside.
Yes.
You cannot have a conversation. If anyone who flouts this now will probably be flogged, will be arrested, and different sanctions will be imposed upon them. And Nigerians are saying this is how the Taliban began.
That's how it began. Yeah, the Taliban began in Afghanistan that we are today. That's to tell you that the lip service that we are playing into all these things that are happening in Nigeria. This is a country where constitutionally we said it's a secular state in the constitution, but in practice we have some part of Nigeria that are practicing 100% Sharia, and the other part is practicing the secular state that is enshrined in the constitution. Then that same Yobe State now, that is saying this, they'll tell you must not drink alcohol, but they are expecting to share VAT money from that came from alcohol as part of those want to use to develop their state. They will tell you that man and woman must not talk together. But when you get to their homes, you see their respective home, they have more than 10, 15, 20 wives in their respective home. How did they meet them? They never spoke to them. So the transport fare now is going to be segregated, that only male will enter this, only female will enter this. Are you not seeing how backward we are in this 21st century because of religion in this nation? Why are we deceiving ourselves? These are just mere deception. We are just deceiving ourselves. Choma, do you know why it's festering? At the time Nigeria look at the other side, in 2023, when APC came up with Muslim social ticket, I knew something of this nature was going to happen. It's just graduating. We are going to see more of it. Nigerians allow it. We sold our right to APC when they came up with Muslim ticket. They didn't just stop at that. They went to the street and brought hoodlums and dressed them with the regalia of a bishop and tell this were Christian bishop. Do you know what that means? They denigrated the Christian religion and they brought in Muslim ticket. That's what we are seeing. So this conquest is just starting. We are going to see it, snowballing into other part of Nigeria. Have we not started hearing of Sharia law coming up in your state some time ago last year? So they are infiltrating Choma. So I don't know until we stand our ground and take the bull by the horn. More of this will come up. These same people who are talking about, you must not talk to somebody in the public. Go and look at the number of wives they have. Go and look at the children they marry. 12 years, 11 years, they marry them. Is that not an aberration? But when it comes to, using it to spite us, they don't see it as law. But when it benefits them, that's when they entrench it. The Muslim ticket gave a lot of brazenness to what we are going through now, and it will continue in this manner if it is not checked.
Quite unfortunate. But while we're looking at all of these issues, of course, there's the Donald Trump saying, the military strikes will continue. And then Tambuwal is saying that we need external intervention. We need foreign intervention for credible elections in Nigeria. If we're calling for external intervention for elections, we're calling for external intervention for security. When it comes to health as well, if not that US aid was stopped, we know what Nigeria was getting in terms of foreign aid for healthcare.
In billions of dollars, yes. Across
what is Nigeria doing for Nigerians if we're always calling on
absolutely nothing, Choma. That's why, because of our docility, we have allowed the government over the years to take us for a ride. Because we have never been asking questions, we've not been defending our own parts. That a government that would say that remember only themselves must do the bidding of the people. Unfortunately, we have never been asking questions. This is a very rich country, but look at what is happening. We are calling on them now to come and help us to supervise election. That's his first state. We are calling on them to come and help us to shore up our insecurity that we find ourselves. Then we beg them cap in hand for AIDS. Then how do you reconcile that is a functioning state? That these are failures. But when it comes to lining themselves with their pocket with what is generated in this nation, you to hear them saying Nigeria is a sovereign state. What do you mean by being sovereignty when you cannot take care of all this responsibility that are supposed to be your normal constitutional responsibility to your people? You cannot take care of them. You are saying, after all, this country is a sovereignty state, is a sovereignty nation. Why will another country come and throw bomb into this nation? When you outsource your responsibility to another country, why would they not mediate in your affairs? That is what we are saying, Choma. We have not been able to defend ourselves. We've not been able to do the necessary thing to ourselves. Our president has been out of this country now for the past 2 weeks. We don't know where he is. Then the next thing we hear that whenever they have headache here, the government officials that can afford it, they fly abroad. Where is the sovereignty? Nothing is working. Hospitals are not working. Schools are not working. Insecurity is prevailing us in our day-to-day activities. Where is that one that we can say, okay, this is the reason why we must call this nation a sovereign nation? There's nothing to show for it. And as a result, nobody should be talking when the international community says they want to come and assist us. We need them, Choma, because we don't want a repetition of what happened in 2023 general election to take place again. When one man came and told Nigerians, the whole world, that there was a glitch and it ended in that manner. Today, the government started rewarding him, gave him a national honor, and made him an ambassador now. That is to tell you that where it is coming from, they know the trajectory, they know where it is coming from. He came and did their bidding, and he need to be rewarded. So we need more. We need more of international community to come and help us sanitize our system. Because since we cannot do it by ourselves, since we have failed to do it, we need now another colonialization, Choma, if I'll put it that way. So that Nigeria,
2026,
yes,
the giant of Africa should be
recolonized. That is the name. That is the name we use in deceiving ourselves. All these things we read that now we've been discussing it since you began this news, Choma. Is there anything that spelled out being a giant here? Is there anything that spelled it out? It's not just the bogusness of this nation. It's the functionality. How many of these things that are functioning here? You just have a big house, and at the end of the day, you enter, you cannot even find food to eat, and every part of the house is leaking. Is that? We look at that a home. That's what is happening in Nigeria. Everywhere is leaking. You saw even that same Benue state that we will be talking about. Is it not part of the news you just read down? The number of persons that were killed just yesterday here in Benue state. That's how it goes around. Part of Edo state now is not functioning any longer. The whole of Edo Central is not functioning as we speak now. Everything is shut down. School is not opening. Nobody is going out in Edo Central. And fortunately, that's where I belong. That's where I come from. It's affecting me. I have children in that school. Do you call that one a country? Which part of Nigeria do you now go to and sleep with your 2 eyes closed? Nothing is working. So we need them. Let them come and help us to supervise our election, so that we can even get credible leaders who will actually know where the problem of this country is and begin to think of how to sanitize it. Because a situation where we keep recycling the same persons, at the end of the day, we get worse than what we had before. We will not continue it. And we are going into another election year, Choma. There must be difference. That's why we call on the reformation of our electoral act, so that we can have genuine electoral electoral act reformation to face 2027 general election. Because what we had in 2023 general election was a flaw. We got to the court, and court started interpreting those things that we're not aware of, and those things they now use it to gag themselves and get into power. We must not allow a repetition of that. I expect that this 2026 that we are into, Nigeria should be speaking more on electoral reform, so that this government will know that they have responsibility on their hand to get this thing done for us, so that we can actually prepare ourselves to get into another election and not come out to the same result we had in 2023.
Let's start with your assessment of the effectiveness of the strike based on your company's intelligence gathering and the reports from respected U.S. news organizations like the Washington Post. Do you believe the U.S. airstrikes in Nigeria achieved their intended goals, given the reports of unexploded warheads and unclear targeting?
In simple terms, no. The fact that attacks have been ongoing after the military airstrikes, simply says that the intended results are yet to be achieved. And then if we pick the strikes themselves, the fact that till date, pictures haven't emerged of corpses of the killed Lakurawas, neither have we seen pictures of destroyed, camps, equipment that they use in fighting, their gun trucks and all the other maybe guns and weapons, tells me that perhaps the intended outcome was never achieved. Like you indicated in your introduction, 4 of the 16 warheads that were deployed on that day never exploded, and we're talking of warheads that cost about $2 million US per head. So roughly about $8 million US was wasted. The other, there are about 12 that perhaps landed on targets. Like I said, we've not seen any pictures.
And I'm just looking at the reliability of the ordnance, which is, of course, the Tomahawk missile. What might have caused the failure of 4 Tomahawk missiles to detonate? And what does that say about the reliability of that particular brand of U.S. military equipment?
The general consensus is that it couldn't and shouldn't have been the appropriate weaponry to use, given the nature of the threat element that we have in Nigeria. Asymmetric warfare, elements that are kind of infused within, law-abiding citizens. Perhaps ground troops and other forms of weaponry would have been more effective. It's very instructive to note that these missiles were launched from a destroyer on the Gulf of Guinea. Now, the most conservative distance that they covered would be about 1,000 kilometers. Now, because intelligence is not static, the possibility that perhaps even the intelligence that was provided changed from the time the bomb was launched to the time it hit its target. And then, of course, the launchers would have reason either to cause an undetonated landing of the particular missile. So there are several reasons. Technical faults could interfere, weather, wrong mapping, and several other components could have interfered to cause the unexploded ordnance.
Let me take you up on the issue of intelligence. I wonder how you assess the intelligence sharing between the U.S. and Nigerian governments, and whether it contributed, or how much it might have contributed to the mixed outcomes of the strike.
Well, the open information available indicates that the intelligence was shared by Nigeria to the U.S. It's a fact that the intelligence capability of the United States in this part of the world is really basic. For a lot of reasons, the different sources of intelligence, that capability is not as strong as it used to be. And so it relied on Nigerian intelligence. Now, the first question, Charles, that emerged is why the Lakurawa group? If you are ranking terrorist groups in Nigeria, the Lakurawas occupy, the lowest
echelons.
Exactly. So perhaps if it was ISWAP or Jamaat al-Ahl-Sunnah lil-Dawati wal-Jihad or Ansaru,
otherwise Boko Haram.
Perhaps one would have said, okay, these are the more important and crucial terror groups. But the Lakurawa, they're somewhere way down.
So you don't believe that there's justification for the U.S. targeting?
Well, if that targeting had come after the more important targets, I mean, as you know, we do produce, intelligence reports. And when
Beacon Consulting.
The company that I founded.
Your company.
Exactly. Now, we categorize the fatalities caused by each of these groups. Lakurawas are nowhere within the 10 top categories of threat elements.
So in that regard, because you are the expert here, I mean, in that regard, why do you think, because as you said, the intelligence was supplied by the Nigerians.
According to the reports by both the Nigerian and American.
And the Americans. So why do you think the Nigerians gave them that intelligence? Do you think they wanted to send them on a wild goose chase?
Not really. I think both of them knew what they were doing. In the case of the U.S., they've achieved a domestic objective. Of course, Trump came with the gun a-blazing statement, and he's under pressure, at least the Congress.
From the fundamentalist Christians.
Exactly.
And people,
so
Congress people.
And then, it was instructive that attack occurred on the 25th of December, which was Christmas Day. It's also instructive that he had targeted Sokoto State, which is in essence, the symbol of the Islamic Caliphate in Nigeria.
Indeed.
So he may have achieved whatever objective that he may have set, symbolic, right. Exactly. As for the Nigerian state, they've succeeded in de-escalating the pressure that they were put under by the United States by allowing that attack to occur. Now, the reality, and this is now being strategic, the threat element remains, and anyone who doubts that should look at the number of attacks that have occurred from the 26th of December till today, the 13th of January. Several attacks have occurred. Several Nigerians have been killed within this period.
And that is all contained in your latest report.
We reported up to December 31st.
Right. Well, give us a synopsis of that report.
Excellent.
Let's get a sense whilst we're there, because that's the way that we measure the success of these attacks and these pronouncements from the Americans. That's the report from Beacon Security and Intelligence Limited, of which you are the head.
Thank you. So we published the report, like I said, marking the period from January 1st to December 31st, 2025. And what we did in that period, because it's the end of the year, we kind of analyzed.
And we're seeing parts of that report.
Exactly. So this is for December 2025, where we recorded a decline in fatalities. And what we saw in that period is, for fatalities, we saw a 10.42% increase was recorded. What we saw in November was 451 in November, and then 498 in December 2025, which recorded a 10% increase.
And where was that concentrated?
Mainly in the northwest of the country, in Zamfara, in Katsina, mainly.
And so then more the actions of banditry.
Exactly.
Right.
And it takes us back to the statement, why the Lakurawas, when, for instance, bandits killed more people or abducted more people. For abductions, we recorded a 71.55% decrease in abductions when you compare between November and December 2025. We recorded 970 individuals in November 2025 and then 406 in December 2025. So clearly a decrease of about 71%. Now, for the whole year, which is for me the most instructive part of the report, we saw an overall decrease. And interestingly, like I said, from January to December, it was, sorry, just a moment. Okay. Yeah. From January to December, we recorded 9,000 and there are about 9,000 fatalities for that period. And then for abductions, we recorded in 9,679 were recorded in 2024, while 8,523 were recorded in 2025, which was an 11.94% decrease.
Right.
For fatalities, we saw a decline as well. We recorded 11,692 in 2024, and then 10,504 in 2025, also a decrease of 10.16%. But Charles, the more interesting thing is the period of the decrease. From around May 2025, we started seeing a decrease from around 1,300 per month, and it ended the year with about 400. So clearly, there has been an increase in law enforcement capabilities within that period in Nigeria, especially within the rural area. And for me, this is what I think the Nigerian security apparatus should focus on. What led to that change from around May that has now led to this decrease. But then it's not yet uhuru. 10,000 plus people dying in a year is not something we should celebrate.
Indeed, it's not
However,
to be sniffed at.
Exactly. We need to look at where the successes were focused on. And like I said,
and what led to those
what
successes.
led to those successes.
Right.
And two things for us. Like I said, law enforcement, improvement in law enforcement capabilities. As an example, the forest guards that was launched. As you know, this administration started that program, and several of them have already been deployed. The other one is an increase in intelligence capabilities. We saw specific targeting of threat actors, leading to the death of their commanders, leading to the destruction of the supply chains of these threat actors, especially of the terrorist groups and then the bandit groups. And it showed an improvement in intelligence. It also shows a synergy between the intelligence and then operational capabilities. And these are things that if we're going to see an improvement in 2026, I think we need to improve upon. It's also very instructive to mention the improved synergy between what the federal government is doing and what the state governments are also doing. We've seen engagements between the federal government, and I think that was a direct order coming from Mr. President, asking, for instance, the Office of the National Security Advisor to work more closely with state government. So we've seen that, but there are still pockets of variances. As an example, what is going on in Katsina State, which unfortunately I think is extremely deplorable, this idea to free 70 bandits as an example. Zamfara is saying they would not do the same thing. So those variances still occur, and we're hoping that in this year we would see that, that gap close.
We're almost out of time. We've got about 30 seconds. Give us your overall expert insight. What are the most significant takeaways from that American attack in Nigeria? And what would you recommend to policymakers seeking to address terrorism in Nigeria? In 30 seconds.
The most significant takeaway is the pressure that the Nigerian government is under. It's a no-win situation for the Nigerian government. Either way, the American pressure would sustain. So I think it's very important that as a country we take that into consideration. It's good we have de-escalated the pressure, but we must consider our interest first. With regards to the recommendations, the oxygen that the terrorists use to breathe and that allows them to operate, and I'll quickly mention them: funding, their ability to recruit, their capability to move around, especially the motorbikes that they move around on, their ability to, especially the ecospace in which they operate. We must suffocate these elements. The moment we do that, then they would have a natural death. If they're able to procure weapons like they're able to procure at the moment, they're able to attack, military, ammunition depots and steal weapons from that, then the insurgency and the terrorism will continue. The moment we block all of this oxygen that allows them to operate, then this will end. And I think this is where we should focus on.
So guys, there have been a whole lot of reactions going on after some people were seen marching and chanting in support of Tinubu's government. Like this person tweeted and said, on a Tuesday afternoon when they should be at work, intentionally make them poor and jobless, so they amount to political tools. APC must die. So poverty is now really is now a political tool, in Nigeria. Now people were seen out of joblessness carrying Tinubu's support banner and all that. This is coming from ambassadors Ibadan, North Federal Constituency. These are the people in Ibadan. All these people are just doing is tribe. Tell me why they are voting for Tinubu. Nobody knows. Now, let me take you through some reactions from Nigerians. This person say, crook, enemies of Nigeria. You should be ashamed to have this number of jobless people in your constituency. I think Yoruba National Assembly representative is the one spearheading this. Another person here reacted and said, what should we do with this information? Should we start dancing or rolling on the floor? No be your fault. I sincerely support scraping the parliament cause you guys are part of the bigger problem this country have. Which bill have you guys passed that has affected the masses positively? Oh, Papa, it's a good question, honestly. See, as you carry Sheyi law, Mama and Papa keep for son. Oh, my father. Another person say, you have gone to gather jobless men and women again with promise of 3K stipend, as usual. Another person say, make una pity us na APC. See people, Papa and Mama, inside son. So they just gathered people at the end of the day now, they will give them peanut. This one say, guys, please check well if your papa, your brother, your in-law, your son or relative dey here. You need to double your hustle this year because your family is in bondage. Hey, another person has a renewed insecurity, renewed corruption, renewed oppression, renewed taxes, renewed fuel subsidy, renewed negotiation with terrorists, renewed inflation, renewed propaganda, renewed demolition, renewed shegebanza. It's even a Yoruba account. And this other person here, sometimes I wonder what politicians used to tell people to make them gather in large numbers and cheer them up in hot sun and empty stomach. Honestly, I wonder what they tell them. How do you persuade somebody that has been hungry to come and protest, or you come and show up or storm the street and all that? This person say gambler. The same 2K you gave them will be back to your pocket when they patronize your business. Useless legislator. Just politics, nothing more. Just politics, nothing more. In a time when unemployment is ravaging the country, politicians would think they are doing this once at all. They are doing themselves. This same sect will tear you apart, feed on you, and they becomes, and one day, because that is what you are making out of them today. Okay, this person is saying that they are just manipulating you. Can you imagine? They just took these opas and omas to, you know, it's really so sad. Now, this person say only demons will have the type of confidence you have on this app. This is not even election period. Yet, they have standby job rats to fool around, you know. Do the only job you provide for people as a political dog daily? Impressive. Happening now. Aren't you ashamed of yourself for gathering your people on Tuesday when they should be busy with their daily activities? It's embarrassing for a young man like you. It's really so sad. Or this is all you showcase. Campaign this campaign that. Campaign this, campaign that. You all have brought shame to us as a nation. This person say rented bastard. Another person say useless supporters of a useless drug baron Tinubu. How much for payment for jobless crowd? So guys, I'm really so worried the way Nigerians are going. It just shows that people are not even ready to change their lives, because the way these politicians are manipulating Nigerians is unbelievable. You know, this is somebody from National Assembly, Ibadan North Renewed Hope Ambassador. He said he is Ambassador's Ibadan North Federal Constituency, 13th of January. That was yesterday. So they gathered these people, men and women, under the sun to show support for Tinubu upon all the hardship. This is why, see, tribes, we used to blame the North. Now that the Yorubas are the one doing it, tell me how you blame the North again, that they only listen to their leaders. You know, we have always called out the North, that they are the problem of this country, because anywhere their cleric asks them to vote, that direction they are going to vote, they don't care. Then now that you are seeing it happening, you know, that these people are just, this is happening in Yoruba land. I don't know what to call this. I don't know what to make of this, honestly. It's really, really so sad. Now, Saudi Arabia has called out the Tinubu's government over orphans, you know, people that insecurity has led to the death of their parents and they are roaming the streets. Saudi Arabia is warning the Tinubu's government that this is potential danger to the country as regards to the struggle of insecurity. And who knows, does Tinubu put that into consideration? That's the question. Now, there is another headline here. Government records and EFCC filing shows that Bello Bodejo, leader of Miyetti Allah, Qatar, Hero, received millions of dollars in 4 tranches from Bauchi State Fund. The payments were made while he was under intense security scrutiny. He received, this one they are telling us now. Why are you telling us? Because at the end of the day, like Yaya Bello, you free him, provided he's not an Igbo man, you know? This was a Fulanization agenda. In Nigerian history, no tribe has done the service to Nigeria more than the Fulanis. Over 80% of corruption scandals in Nigeria attributed to Fulanis. They are the worst thing that has happened to Nigeria. They are the ones kidnapping, raping, and killing Nigerians across every region. How is our NSA comfortable arming a group declared by DIA and Nasarawa police as an ethnic militia group, with the fact that the group and its members have been figured in many cases of kidnapping across the country? We don't need Miyetti Allah to protect our parents in the farm. Okay, this one says, okay, this is an old news. 2024. Okay, this one say, I usually say this most Yorubas are more dangerous than Igbos. Yorubas are the highest level of betrayal, religion that they use to deceive our northern people into having soft spot for Yorubas. Igbos are the most open-minded Nigerians we underrate. Yorubas are the real snakes. I don't know why they are bringing Yoruba Igbo here. Before posting this, you should have attached all the government records and EFCC filings, but because you were easily bored, we refuse to use you for gatekeeping. Now you are being used by the highest bidder with no moral or integrity. You dance to the tune of your paymaster, subjecting other campaigns of calumny and trials in the court of public opinion without bias, all to sway and bias the masses. You are a disgrace to journalism. I don't even know who is he referring to. Okay, these Premium Times that posted this. It's a disgrace too. Anyway, the Northerners are not happy that this thing is posted. Okay, Fulani, Matana, Patana, who are extremely minorities, allowed by Hausas, etc., by governors of Bauchi, for instance, instead of using the state fund to educate people, they gift it to Fulani terrorists, thereby making the Hausa children the poorest in Nigeria. I think this makes sense. You know, it really makes sense, honestly. Only money and tax money, oil money and tax money, which they didn't work for, going right into the hands of terrorists through government officials. What a sad, sorry state of a country. Yaribas want to destroy the few leaders left in the north the same way they went after Malami. President Jonathan shouted that Boko Haram has infiltrated my government. No way Bola Mohammed will be exempted from this investigation. I always know that the Islamization agenda was real. Still, the US government encouraged Nigerian government to fight it. The game has changed. Nigerian tax working for Fulani Islamic terrorists. So guys, these are reactions from Nigerians after a report shows that Miyetti Allah has been benefiting from the government. We know that under Buhari gave Miyetti Allah 100 billion. This is the one that was officially stated. What about the ones that went underground? You know, officially, Buhari's government gave them 100 billion naira despite all the killings. They still compensated them. And now, report has been exposing some northern governors to have been funding the Fulani Miyetti Allah. No wonder they are bold enough to come out to dare anybody that tries to criticize them. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification. Thank you.